So you don't do trust. You just choose and you trust. The moment you think how to do it, you're immediately losing it. You're not in trust anymore. So trust is like, I decide to trust. It's like an inner dialogue. I decide to trust. End of the story.
Hey guys, welcome to our SoulFam Podcast, where I interview space holders from all over the world. I am your host, my name is Karolina, and I am the connection catalyst. I help spiritual entrepreneurs experience deeper connection with themselves, with others, and with the universe. Today on the show, we have Riya Sokol, the Queen of Abundance. Welcome to the show, Riya. How are you doing?
Hello. So honored to be here. Thank you for the invitation. I'm super excited about what's going to happen now.
Oh, yes, me too. Especially that I just discovered we are both Polish, and I feel like if there are any other Polish people listening to us right now, it's going to be a really on point conversation because you are the queen of abundance. And I feel like Poland came from such, let's say, hard conditions in the past that abundance is still the topic that is not fully developed, I feel, in Poland. And so, therefore, I feel like it's a very important conversation. And therefore, I'm actually in the process of like putting out there the book about money to Poland. I translated the book called Love Money, Money Loves You by Sarah McCrum. I translated it to Polish, and I was just checking the audiobook just before we started this conversation, just a final corrections so that we can put it on Amazon and actually spread the words of abundance to Poland, because I feel like our country really, really needs it. So yeah, I'm curious to know, how did you get to be the queen of abundance? What has led you to this specific path?
Oh my God, that's the best question because I feel that, like, first of all, I was called Queen of the Abundance, and it took me some time to accept it and to actually claim it. And after I did it, it felt good because people started using this phrase about me some time ago. But I had to process that to really allow myself to that. And when I look at my life, I can see that everything that was happening in my life was from the very beginning about abundance. It was almost like a script written especially for me, and everything was leading me to where I'm at just now. So this is brilliant. And the moment that I was really hit by the information that it's the topic for me and it's my path was exactly 2 years ago. I was already exploring abundance. I was already working with intimacy, tantra, money, and because intimacy, sexuality is very close to money. So I was already doing that for years. But what happened was during the pandemic, as it started, I wrote a poem that was called Thank You, Coronavirus. And what happened was it went crazy viral. It went all over the world. I had few millions of shares. I had billions of views all over the world. I lost you. Carolina, are you there?
I'm there, yes.
Oh, okay, because I can't see you in the video. Okay, so I just continue.
Yes.
Okay, great. So then I was just shocked what happened because my whole life, my dream was to deliver my message, whatever the message is, to the world. And it happened in one day. And then it went insane for months. Pandemic just started. Everyone was in a critical situations, losing money, in a very dramatic places in their lives. And I wrote a poem and I earned crazy amount of money in the midst of this crisis. And after that happened, I had a massive process because I felt that now is the time for me to really dive in and realize what actually happened, that this little piece went so popular, that I earned so much money around it, and that it was effortless. It was in pure flow. I was just sitting in Costa Rica at 5 a.m. in the morning, watching sunrise, praying for the planet, checking, wow, God, what is happening here? How can I serve? And I started writing the poem. And that really, like, the whole situation really forced me to look at and explore what actually happened. And that led me fully into path of abundance and into like really committing to this work.
Wow, this is an amazing story. Oh my God, it just shows how the universe works in magical ways if we just don't stand on the way of the universe, right? And also, if we come from the pure service, if we come from like, okay, God, use me for the best of everyone, and then it just happens rather than you struggling or fighting or wondering how it's going to happen or anything like that. And so, based on this story and what happened, right? What did you discover? Like, what are the basic, let's say, principles of attracting divine abundance? Because I like to call it divine abundance, really, because it's coming from the divine. It's not coming from our human little small mind trying to figure things out. It's actually just the divine flow of energy that is flowing into us. So, based on how you have gone through this whole situation and how you attracted it, what are the basics of how people, other people that maybe have normal 9 to 5 job and they don't know what to do with their life because they are miserable but they want to attract more money, what should they do to be in this divine flow, to actually attuned to this abundant energy of the universe?
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, as you're saying, like I agree, it's a divine connection, and this is the place where we need to distinguish the human inside of us and the divinity inside of us. So people like to call it divinity, soul, energy, the God inside of us, the source, like however we call it. It's this piece, it's this version of us that is not material. And the biggest misunderstanding is that we try to create reality from the material to create material. So, from the human navigation, we try to create human experience. Whilst how it works is we create on an energetical level, and that impacts the human and that creates the material reality. So, as you beautifully said, the point is that we have to be able to navigate our human version. We have to be able to dedicate ourselves to be used, to be created by this energy, to allow it actually. And then we can create magic. So this is like, it sounds simple. It is not simple because of our conditioning, because of everything we believe in, because of the proofs also around me. Like it, everything that makes sense is material. This is something that is predictable. So overcoming this illusion is one of the first steps that we need to understand to be able to start opening and start allowing the flow inside of us.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. I feel so just aligned with everything you're saying because after reading this Love Money, Money Loves You book multiple times, and the book is all the pure channeling of the energy of money. So the author is not writing the book, the money is writing the book. So the book is like, hello, it's me, money. This is how you need to handle me, but you actually don't.
Amazing.
So here I am telling you what to do exactly to bring me into your life. And one of the things is like, you are actually standing on your own way of attracting money. So, for example, they depict it kind of as a bureaucracy, even similar to if you are applying for something. So, for example, okay, money, give me $200, let's say, right, or $2,000, whatever. Give me this money, and then you kind of submit the application. But then, if afterwards you have a thought, oh, but I don't know how I'm going to get it, or oh, but maybe it's not going to work, or oh, but how am I going to handle another job to do? Whatever else is afterwards, after this request that you are submitting, is blocking and is kind of like depicted as the request is just put on the desk, chilling there until you open up again, until you don't have any fears, any doubts, any hesitation about this request being fulfilled. So it's actually you and your human mind standing on the way of this request for money being fulfilled. And it's really depicted as like, I, money, I'm the energy, and we are the connections, the energy of exchange. We are supporting you. We want the best for you. We actually are happy when you're happy. We love to deliver you money and any other exchange, but you are kind of like restricting us from doing that, because if you have, yeah, fears, doubts, hesitation, or if you have like, low self-esteem or whatever else that is blocking you there, they cannot, these beings, these energies, they cannot flow onto us. And also the fragment that I just listened to just before we started is like, the money is like rain, and maybe in some countries there is more rain, maybe in some countries there is less rain, but it is like rain. And if you, like, if you're gonna stand under the rain, it's gonna flow on you. But if you're gonna have an umbrella, something blocking, it's just not gonna flow, and it's just gonna flow on someone else, just like kind of jump from you and then go to someone else. And it's like, it just opens up this whole idea and perspective of money, like not as something that is only coins and notes and everything that we have here, but it is the energy of exchange. So if you want to earn more money, you need to be of service, you need to exchange something valuable for the energy of money, right? And it doesn't have to be anything like, anything that you've done so far. Like, for example, with your poem, it is just such a beautiful story, because it's like you just felt inspired, and this inspiration brought value, and you were of service, and you were praying, and it was all a spiritual experience, right? So then this spiritual pure energy, I bet that your intention wasn't, oh, I'm gonna post it and then I'm gonna publish it and then I'm gonna earn a lot of money. I bet it wasn't like that. I bet it was just like, okay, I'm gonna just bring value to this world, maybe inspire people to see the situations in a different way. I'm not sure what the poem is, I haven't read it, but thank you coronavirus, I would say that it's something, expressing gratitude to coronavirus, which is probably a different perspective to what people have had, which is an alternative, like higher perspective, I guess. So then it could bring so much value to people. So yeah, I just feel like I'm also very passionate about this topic, because I feel like if I'm in this flow where I'm just like happy and joyful, and I'm like, oh yeah, oh my god, the universe is abundant, universe give me X amount of money, and then by the end of the evening or the next day I have this money that I requested. But it's only when I don't stand on my own, when I'm really really open, when I'm like, okay, I can receive anything, universe is massive, so to give me a little bit of money is not really a big deal for the universe. So how would you say that people can get to this state, this openness, this receptiveness to actually bring in money into their life? Because I think that's the tricky part, like how to be in this state, this pure divine flow, and to stay there so that the money actually comes in.
Hmm. That's the beautiful question, because it's actually, I call it the art of allowing, the art of receiving. And in order to receive, we need to open, we need to keep opening. And the human mind works very intuitively. So when something beautiful happens, we open intuitively because it's beautiful. But when something difficult happens, we intuitively shut down and
Mm-hmm.
close.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's actually the point of the abundance, of the receiving, of the art of the receiving, is to be able to stay opened actually for everything. Because once we shut down to anything that's difficult, we shut down to everything. We cannot subtract, okay, I'm going to take this, but this I don't like, because this is not abundance. Abundance is everything. So if we really want to attract the abundance, we really need to open unconditionally,
Mm-hmm.
which means we are opening to everything.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what creates the flow. And this is where the whole work with the courage starts. The whole work with holding ourselves in the biggest fears, anxieties, any radical emotions that are shaking us. This is the biggest work about abundance. So actually this path is taking us through the things that we cannot handle, so we can prove that we can handle abundance.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the art of opening and opening and opening and opening to everything unconditionally.
Wow, this is so amazing. And especially because maybe like a week or so ago, I was meditating and I was doing one of the healing modalities that I use is called Psych K. And I was just doing the work on myself with the belief I understand what it feels like to feel safe in my body. And safety is obviously like the root chakra. So it's also connected to financial stability and financial safety and all these things. And when I was doing this, working through this belief, I really understood that in order to feel safe in your body, you really need to feel safe going into any emotion. Because if you feel unsafe going into anything, whether it's grief, sadness, anger, whatever, if any emotion makes you feel unsafe to go there, if you're afraid to feel anything, then you're automatically not going to feel safe in your body because you're always going to have emotions. You're always going to have feelings coming to you. So if you feel not open, as you said, to any feeling, right, to feeling anything, then you're automatically going to feel unsafe. And that's going to affect your root chakra and that's going to affect your abundance as well. So it's kind of like very interconnected of how safe you can feel feeling everything. And I'm just so big. Like I'm such a big advocate for the shadow work because I also do shadow work for work. It's my job to guide people to childhood traumas and release what's there. So really, I'm so in alignment with what you're saying. Like we need to allow anything because even while attracting abundance, there could be some things that are challenging for us, or some triggers, or something else, or whatever we want to create. There is never going to be like only easy and never challenges path. I feel like the challenge might sometimes be for us to wake up earlier than we want to, or the challenge might be to have a difficult conversation with our coworker, or the challenge might be, of course, it doesn't have to be hard for us, but it might be quite challenging. And so we need to be open to be triggered and to actually go through these challenges if necessary. So thank you so much for sharing that because I feel like it's such a important point to talk about that we need to be open to everything, and it's just very valuable for me, and I'm sure for all people who listen. But how do you feel like people can mm, let's say anchor themselves in this openness? Because I feel like we are so programmed with this idea that feeling negative emotions is so bad that how do you work with people so that they can actually open to any emotion, to any feeling, to everything?
So what I do, I don't anchor in openness, I anchor in trust.
Mm,
So then when I'm anchored in trust, I can remember when being in a closeness or being in a big darkness, I remember to trust, and that impacts my openness.
mhm,
So then it's somehow recognizing the contractions, recognizing how our body works. And it's actually exactly how we're going to the gym. It's stretching, it's strengthening, it's reinforcing particular muscles inside of us. So it's something that we keep opening, and gets bigger. Our capacity to receive abundance, to receive money, is growing as we grow to our triggers, as we strengthen the muscle to be able to hold ourselves in the biggest triggers, in the biggest stress. So
mhm,
let's say when we were younger, we could handle this amount of stress because we were younger, we had less experience, we had no tools.
mhm,
As we grow, as we practice handling stress in a wise, mature way, we learn how to navigate it, and then we're capable to hold more and more stress.
mhm,
So this is why I like comparing it to the gym, because it's like we're growing the muscle, we're growing as we're walking, and it's not like we're getting somewhere and we're done, we're there, and then it works well, because abundance is limitless. So we keep walking, we keep strengthening, stretching, and we keep walking, and it's bigger, and we keep walking, and it's bigger.
mhm, mhm. That's amazing. And so that brings me to a question. I'm really curious about your perspective because I spoke to a few friends like in the past when I was saying, okay, I'm earning like X amount of money. Let's say I'm earning, I don't know, $5,000 a month, but I wanna now earn $50,000 a month, for example, right? And like people would be like, oh, I have never heard of anyone who went from 5 to suddenly 50, and I'm just like, Yeah, but it is possible. I mean, there are ways of how someone can jump from one level to a completely whole other level. And you are a beautiful example of that, how your poem just went viral and you did that, right? But we are also talking about expanding and like stretching and being able to handle more and more. So I'm curious about combining these two perspectives. Like, can you actually completely quantum jump, let's say, to the reality where you go from, let's say, $1,000 a month to 10,000 or even 100,000, whatever the gap is? Or do you feel like because we need to stretch and grow and expand, we can handle, let's say, gradually more and more, we have more and more capacity to handle more and more money? How do you see it?
It depends. It depends on the structure of the person. It depends on the structure and preferences of the person. It depends on their human design. It depends on their capacities also and their style, actually. So I work with people who prefer step by step, everything slowly and moving in a certain tempo because this is how much their nervous system can handle. So it's like they stretch but slowly.
Hmm.
I know people who love the quantum jump, like
Me,
right away, straight away.
I am.
And that comes in a package, obviously, because it hits like really strongly also the flip side of the quantum leap. So the flip side is naturally how much we can handle in terms of the energy. Because going after the example of me doing the poem, this was a video poem, it was such a quantum leap for me that for 3 weeks I was out of it. Like it was such a hard process for me. Like I had no idea.
What do you
So it
mean?
was like huge success that was combined with the amount of energy that I had no idea I have to handle how to hold. I was used to handle, like I had, I don't know, 10,000 people watching me on Instagram, and suddenly the whole planet was looking at me. It was energetically, especially with a person who works with energy, who is so sensitive, like I felt it tremendously, and I had to stretch myself. I had to really get a lot of support to be able to handle it, like thousands, millions of messages a day, people trying to connect to me, people looking at me. Like it was physically very difficult. Like I was feeling it in my body, and learning how to hold it was a really challenging time for me. And it took me some time, and I needed a lot of support, because from being watched like by this little community, suddenly it went, like as you're saying, from it's like jumping from 1,000 to 1 million. It's like like your nervous system sometimes needs some graduate um um, kind of alignment to that. And for me, it was just like from here to here, and I was just, it was really challenging for me. So it depends on our structure and actually our match, our energetical match. Like apparently, it was an energetic match for me, but my human was like, I had to drag the human and like really help him in this transformation.
Mm, I
It
can
was one of the
imagine.
most challenging times of my life.
Wow. This is so interesting because I feel like so many people don't have this perspective that it can be actually overwhelming, because everyone is just thinking like, yeah, of course, I would love to have $1 million tomorrow. Like, why not? Of course. And they don't think of this flip side of the coin where if you're a sensitive human being, you can feel everyone that is thinking about you or feeling you or whatever, right? And I feel like I can only relate to that based on what other people tell me, my best friends and whatever, who are highly sensitive, because I am quite intense in my energy. I feel like I'm penetrating everyone rather than everyone penetrating me. I'm a manifestor generator, so I'm just like, I just feel like a bomb of light, and I feel like for me, I don't know if it would be such a challenging process because I feel like I'm just so strong in my energy and not as like sensitive to other people that I feel like, yes, I'm up for quantum jumping, tomorrow, and I'm just gonna handle it. And I'm always extreme. I always go for, big doses of plant medicine, or just extreme experience of like eating one day and not stopping eating the next day, and just like, things like that. But so how do people who are sensitive, and for who maybe have this kind of experience, and it doesn't have to maybe even be so big as you've experienced, but even being seen by more people, and thought of by more people than they are used to, how do they handle it? Like, what, or maybe what kind of support should they seek?
I love to say that the overwhelm is like right next to abundance. It's almost like, if we want to experience abundance, we need to learn how to handle overwhelm, because it's like there is no abundance without overwhelm. And the overwhelm is very particular state, because the first thing that happens when we're overwhelmed, we withdraw, which is like our natural reaction, because it's too much. But this is actually what I said before, like, if it's too much, then you're not open to receive.
Mm-hmm.
So actually working with overwhelm is like the fundamentals of being able to open and receive the abundance. We need to learn how to handle overwhelm, how to relax to it, how to hold ourselves in this tremendous discomfort of feeling too much, too big, too of everything, and still show up. And this is where the actual hard work starts. And walking the path of abundance is not an easy one.
Mm-hmm. So someone needs to be up for a bumpy ride if they want to attract abundance, right?
And look at it as a path of growth, not as a path towards a goal or achievement that we want to create. It's like, I dedicate my life to walk, not to get somewhere. So this changes the whole perspective, and that gives me completely different comprehension of what I'm doing and
Mm-hmm.
why I'm doing it. It's like I dedicate my lifetime to do it, and then I am not upset when I get a baseball hit in my head, when I am in some kind of illusion, or I'm trying to manipulate, or whatever my human tries to do to protect herself.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. This is so beautifully said, because I feel like so many people who aim for high levels of abundance, they are also high achievers. So they are always goal oriented and results oriented, and it's always like, okay, when I earn this much money, then I'm gonna be happy. Or then when they earn this much money, then they're like, oh, shit, I still feel empty in myself. Like I still feel like that's not it. So I'm gonna earn more money now. And then there is another goal. And if you say like, okay, you're just walking the path and you're enjoying every step of the way, that's what I am big on. Like I love enjoying my life, and that's my purpose of life, is to enjoy and to spread joy and love. And I just feel like this is the way that I like to do it. And even in the book, I just listened to one of these chapters as well about money and happiness. It's like the money says, okay, you can aim for earning a lot of money, and then we're gonna teach you how to do it with joy, or you can aim for joy, and then as a result of this you're going to attract a lot of money. It's like interconnected. You cannot separate joy from money, if of course if you're in alignment. Because like there's another perspective that they were presenting in the book, where people would ask like, why people who, for example, produce weapons or do bad things, why do they have a lot of money? And the answer was like, okay, first of all, this was the old paradigm of making money, and the old energy and the old earth, you can say, quote unquote. And also, these people actually provide a lot of service to the world, because they actually give jobs. They actually help people who work there feed their families and bring, value to this world, even though the product itself is maybe not pure with this intention, right? They still like provide the service to the world, because they sustain some people, they sustain some families, and people can live their life better thanks to these people who have these companies, right? So there's a lot of factors, I feel, when it comes to money and attracting money, that we can look at. But I would also like to ask you, because one of the things that people love to do is saying affirmations, for example, like, oh, I have a lot of money or I have $1 million. And I don't actually feel like affirmations work that well. And I'm curious about your perspective. Like, how do you feel about saying affirmations about money to attract them more?
Hmm. Well, the thing with affirmations is that like the energy doesn't respond to what we say. The energy responds to the way we feel. So this is how we become the energetical match for something. It's not from our words. It's from actually the feeling in our body. So very often people come to me and say like, "Oh, I've been affirming for 1 year and nothing happened. What am I doing wrong?" It's because it's like we can, if the words would be, the way to manifest, like we would live in a really crazy world. So this is the thing, like we don't attract through the words. So for me, it's almost like getting into a new house where we want to bring the new furnitures, and there are still like so many of the old ones with the spiders and with the dust and everything. It's like it just doesn't work like that. So we need to clean, we need to really be aware, and we really need to learn how to navigate our inner world, our emotional world, our energetical world, to be able to take advantage from using affirmations. So I love journaling, for example. So I would be journaling to create a sense of a dreaming, to create a sense of how I'm feeling, how I desire to feel, how I want to create my life, my day, my hour. And then I would be journaling about it, and then it would put me into a certain state of energetical condition inside of me, or I would play the music, or I would dance. So there are many ways to calibrate to a certain energy that we become a match for a certain reality. But using words to that, just speaking, it's not what works, and from my experience.
Yes, I completely agree with you that we need to feel as if it's already true. And by the feeling, we can actually reprogram our neural pathways in our brain. So then we can actually feel differently. And our whole body, our nervous system is like, yes, it's here. But also, I feel like when we say the words, and even if we like try to feel as if it's already true, I feel like it sometimes doesn't work because our conscious mind sees like, okay, you say that you have $1 million, but I look at your wallet and there is like $2. So how the hell are you trying to convince me that this is true? So what I like to tell people is to use affirmations that are actually true. So for example, you would say, I choose to have $1 million rather than I do have $1 million, because the truth is that you choose to have it. You choose the reality of the whole infinite potential of the universe in which you have $1 million. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you have it now. But when you say I choose it, you can actually really get in touch with this feeling like, yes, I choose it, I have it. And it's kind of more aligned with the conscious mind, who might say, nope, you don't have it. But it's not going to say, nope, you don't choose it, because you do, right? That's like the truth. So if you say the things that are true for you, I feel like it can be easier also to bring this into your life, because there is no internal resistance of like, nope, you don't have $1 million in your wallet. It's just easier for our body to take it in. So that's how I like to work with affirmations, by choosing, saying like, I choose this, I choose that, rather than I have it, because sometimes it's just too challenging for us to feel like we already have it if we are just starting on our path and we want to go beyond what we are capable of. And so, apart from journaling and doing affirmations in a way that you feel it, what are your other most effective methods that you could recommend for all the people who listen to us now and who would like to, work on their abundance mindset?
Well, one of my favorite exercises and things that I do is I make a dialogue with myself about what's possible. So, as you're saying, like we can use different techniques not to lie and cheat to ourselves, but actually be honest, and at the same time become the energetical match to what we dream of. So then we would be saying, like, is it possible that I will be a millionaire? Yes, it's possible. Is it possible that next year, this time, I'm going to be in Hawaii swimming with dolphins? It's possible. Is it possible that, I don't know, I'm gonna travel the world with a private jet within my lifetime? It is possible. So then we kind of play with our imagination, and this is what creates a certain calibration inside. So we don't want to lie, we don't want to pretend, or to affirm the reality that doesn't exist. We want to just put ourselves in a state of kind of dreaming, allowing, fantasizing, but in a pretty rationalized way. So that does create something in us. So we don't have to say, like, I'm going to be a millionaire within a month, because this puts the illusion of time, and that kills the whole dream. Because is it possible? It is possible. Is it probable? It is not probable. So then we start the dialogue. But is it possible in a lifetime? Yes, it is possible. And then we cheer up, and then it's like, okay, so it's possible. Okay, so what's next? And it just creates something completely different. So it's one of my favorite exercises. I do it a lot with my children also, because it just puts us in such a fantastic and up leveled state of our inner emotional and energetical world.
Wow, this is amazing. I love this game, especially with children, because they have no societal constructs in their mind saying, like, oh, no, it's not possible. They feel like everything is possible. So I feel like we can really learn from children and from their openness to any reality that, like, yay, everything is possible. That's awesome. I freaking love it. Thank you for sharing that. And even in the
Mm.
book, the money talks about it, like, have a big vision for the change that you want to happen, that you want to happen in the world, and then don't really wonder about how you are going to play, what kind of jigsaw puzzle you are going to be in this whole picture, but just do something committed to your dream. Maybe you can do some research, maybe you can read a book, or maybe you can just take one little action step every single day, or maybe take 1 hour of your day every day to just do something connected to your big vision. And then don't wonder about how things are going to happen, what's going to be aligned, because if you already know what your vision is, you're very clear about it, you really spend time clarifying and feeling it and sensing it and hearing and smelling and all these things, right? Engaging all the senses into your vision. And then you just kind of like direct your energy towards this vision. You kind of like saying to the universe, hey universe, so I'm doing these steps towards this vision being true, so I'm committed to it, I'm doing it, I'm putting my energy into it. And then all these people, situations, conditions, and everything else can fall into place for you to actually be where you want to be. Because sometimes it requires to meet only one person that can completely change your life and go into a complete different direction, right? Or as your beautiful story, it took one poem, just one thing, one day, right? One moment, like, I don't know, an hour, or however many however much time you spent writing it. It doesn't have to be anything like for years, right? Where you save money for years and then this happens, and then this is like the old way, the logical way, the structural way. And of course we need
Mhm.
logic to make things happen, but also I feel like we can, when we open up to our soul and to, as you say, these infinite possibilities for us, and we open up the potential, it's like, wow, that's awesome. And that's what also Psych K, the belief change method that I use, does. It's like this is like balancing of right and left hemisphere of your brain to open up the potential in your subconscious mind of the reality being true. And then when you take the action step based on this opened up potential, you just aligned with this reality way easier, right? Because the potential is already there, the potential of your subconscious mind not resisting the belief, just being open to it, is already guiding you there. And I love what Teal Swan, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Teal Swan, she's a spiritual leader, and she said once on the workshop that it's really not about taking massive action towards your goal, it's about removing all the resistance that you have towards it, right? So all the fears, all the hesitations, all the parts of you that actually don't want to achieve it, because there's a lot of parts of us that don't want to achieve this goal, right? That don't want to have so much responsibility, or maybe they are afraid of success, or maybe they are afraid they're going to lose connection with people when they achieve it, or maybe like there is so many reasons people have in their minds without knowing, or maybe that they are going to be rich and rich people are bad, or and they want to be a good person, right? And there's just so much we can have inside that we don't have an idea about because it's on our subconscious mind. So how do you feel that we can, or maybe what's your way of handling these subconscious parts of us that are actually against achieving the goals that we have?
For me, it's still about surrendering and allowing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just once I dedicate and commit to my life as a path, it's like I am not so much focused on what needs to happen, what has to happen, what I have to achieve. It's more like how deeply I can lean back, how deeply I can relax to everything that wants to flow through me, and how mm, easily and effortlessly I can surrender to it. It's nothing more than that. So it's less about doing, it's more about leaning back and feeling and allowing. This is where I speak so much about feminine and masculine energy and the dynamics that is happening inside of us. It's like we have the masculine part, we have the feminine part. And more than anything, I'm teaching women all over the world to start creating this new paradigm of feminine abundance, of feminine wealth, of feminine luxury, where we're creating our businesses from a place of allowing rather than doing or fixing. So I teach how to navigate this inner dynamic. So it's not so much about doing. It's not any longer about doing. It's not any longer about goals or achievements or what is the point we want to get. It's more about how deeply we can surrender, and this is where the effortlessness comes in, and this
Mm.
is where the magic comes in.
Amazing. This is really amazing. And again, it aligns so much with what the money says in the book, because the main message is, apart from enjoying everything that you're doing, right, and being open and receptive and loving, it's like relax. Because when you relax, you open all these channels of
Mhm.
your energy, and you're like, if the abundance is like the rain falling into you, if your channels are open, then more abundance can flow into you. And if you are, again, resisting something, then your body gets tense and your energy channels get tense, and the energy cannot flow so much through your body. So it's just so perfectly beautifully aligned with the message of the book. It's like, if you relax, the more you can relax, the more you can handle of this abundance coming to you, because the more fresh energy can come to you, the more the old energy is released from you, and then you can open up to this new reality and new abundance that is flowing into you. So I love what you're saying about just allowing everything, because this is really allowing. It's like,
Mhm.
if something get like, if you get triggered with something, if you have this fear or doubt or whatever about money, you just surrender to it. You just are in it, and you just let this feeling be in your body. And at some point, when you feel like you went to the full depth of the feeling, it's going to be gone, because it's energy in motion. So if you allow this energy to be there and you just sit with it, then it's going to be no problem within, I don't know, maximum 1 or 2 hours, sometimes more. But I feel like most of the processes that I do when we work on inner child, it's like within 2 hours the problem is solved, and there is not anymore any emotion there. So then you open up to this whole new level, whole new potential, whole new level of you, really, and you're closer and closer to your higher self, who is abundant, just ultimately, right? Because like, our higher self is love, our higher self is light. So if we can just come closer and closer to it, we can be more and more abundant. So I really love what you're saying about
Mhm.
allowing and trusting. And it's so hard for people, I feel like, even like right now during pandemics, and now maybe the war starting, and whatever else is going on in the world, a lot of stuff, right? Floods in Australia and all these things. People have quite a hard time trusting and letting go. So, what would you say to these people who are like, "Come on, but I just had my whole house flooded with water. I have nothing right now. Like, how can I trust that it's for my highest good? How can I be okay with the Ukraine being bombarded for the last 2 weeks? Like, how can I trust all that?" What would you say to them?
I love that you're asking this question because I actually made a post about it, and I'm going to read it now because I was very inspired um, about yeah, actually this question, and where do we get when it comes to this collective massive changes that are happening that it's really hard to be wise.
Mhm.
So, what I wrote was there are certain questions that we never find an answer to, as we don't have access to full information. We don't see the whole picture. There are situations that we will never ever understand, as it's not possible to explain them. We can only look, stay in trust, and in love towards life as a miracle. However, there are also those questions to which there is a simple, unexplainable answer that requires the willpower. How to stop asking, why is it happening? You just stop. How to stop thinking about something? You just stop. How to trust? You just do. You choose to trust and you do it. There is no strategy here. There is no point of reference, just a decision, conscious, courageous, categorical. This way, you can make an impact on your life. We are a ship sailing the ocean of life, but we can decide how we react in a brutal storm. Sorry, I have continuation in the comments. If we let ourselves be drawn into the race of thoughts, that we are covered by the wave, or we choose to be grounded and hold ourselves in this hard time so we don't get overtaken by the wave. We have no influence on the storm, but we have the ability to decide how to go through it. There are situations in our life, whether it's private or political, that teach us one important thing: humbleness and surrender to the unknown. We don't know anything, as life is a mystery. And so often I get this question of, how do I trust? How do I trust? And the trust is like a core feminine quality. Feminine is about is not about doing. Masculine is about doing. Feminine is about feeling. So you don't do trust. You just choose and you trust. The moment you think how to do it, you're immediately losing it. You're not in trust anymore. So trust is like, I decide to trust. It's like an inner dialogue. I decide to trust. End of the story.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's so beautiful. I love what you wrote in the post, and it's just so on point. And I'm like completely aligned with that because we never know the bigger picture of what the universe brings us. And I've heard so many messages from people like who have gone through something very traumatic, but then it has brought them to the best things in life. So in the moment, they might say, "Okay, this was the worst experience ever," but then afterwards, it's like, "Whoa, I'm so grateful that it happened because now, looking back, it's actually the best thing that could have possibly happened to me." So I trust that this is happening for a reason, and I trust that this all is bringing us to new awareness, new levels of consciousness, new levels of unity as well. Because if things like that are happening, there is more compassion in the world, there is more unity, there is more help offered, there is more, just all these beautiful qualities now are coming out because something traumatic is happening, so all these people are willing to help. My friends were, I don't know, setting up the apartments for people from Ukraine here in Szczecin, where I come from, yesterday, and I just hear these stories. I'm like, wow, people are actually so connected, they are so in
Mhm.
oneness right now thanks to what's happening. And of course I feel
Exactly.
sorry for people who lose things, and my heart goes out to Ukraine and all the families, and it's horrible on one hand what's happening, but on the other hand there is a higher plan that we just gotta trust, and we just gotta go with it and do whatever we can to express ourselves for who we are. And if you want to be of service and help,
Mhm.
please help, be of service, be love, be light, especially in these dark times. But also just hold the vision of what you want to create and really trust that the vision is coming true. Because for me, this whole situation is a challenge in a way for all the light workers to be like, okay, we see what's happening and we're going to help whoever needs the help, and we're gonna more strong, and even stronger, hold the vision, and even more we will put more energy into creating this new vision. Like we will do even more just to make this vision come true, where people are in light, people are in love, and people are united, and there is no war, there is only peace. So now it's a challenge for us: how can we hold the peaceful vision during the times of war? this is even more challenging. But that's why we are light workers. That's why we're doing what we're doing, and we want to raise the consciousness and the vibration of our planet. So now is the time that we need to hold this beautiful, peaceful vision, more than ever. So yeah, I just trust and treat it as like a my personal challenge, but also like our collective challenge, like how to see what's happening and respond to that, but also hold the vision of what we actually want to create rather than what we don't want, because it never works when you when you hold the vision of what you don't want, right? You're always attracting these things. So yeah, that's just beautiful. This was a beautiful post. I'm gonna certainly save it and read it whenever I feel like down, or that I feel like lack of trust in the universe. I'm certainly gonna read it. So thank you so much for sharing. So for all these people who are curious about your work and maybe they would like to work with you, or just read your beautiful posts, what is the best way to contact you?
I'm on Instagram, Riya Sokol Official. And I'm also on Facebook, Riya Sokol. So you can find me online. And I'm doing plenty of online programs, masterminds, individual one on one coaching, mentoring. So there are many, many ways to connect to me.
Amazing. Thank you so much for all your wisdom and knowledge and your beautiful energy. I feel like I got a lot out of it, and I'm 100% sure that everyone who listens is just amazed by you and your insights and everything that you're representing. So thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to talk to you and have you on our podcast.
Incredible. Thank you so much. I'm honored to be a guest here. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you so much for being with us today. It was an amazing conversation with Ria. And if you feel like you need support and you feel stuck in your scarcity mindset still, contact Ria or contact me. My Instagram is The Connection Catalyst. And I'm sure we're going to be able to help you to get to your abundant mindset and to really reach the new levels of money and abundance and also fulfillment and joy in your life. So reach out to us if you feel like you have any problems with that, and stay tuned to the next episode.